Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the Limited Edition Leadership Academy, coming to you live. So, today's topic I'd like to discuss and talk about fear. Is it friend or foe? And the impact it has on our learning. Now, who's currently feeling a bit scared at the moment? Yeah. And what about feeling a little bit anxious, about the future and what's coming next? Yeah. And what about those in year 12 at the moment? How do you think, are you a little scared about how the coronavirus impact is going to affect your academic grades to get into university? Yeah, I would be freaking out too. Yeah. But in these uncertain times, you know, uh, there are ways in which we can improve our academic abilities and the stress levels that we're currently going through. And today I wanted to talk to you about how our brain plays a big impact on whether we see fear as a friend or as a foe. And what I want you to take away from today's session is to understand what you're feeling at the moment is natural and it's normal and it's part of our biology and it's a part of our DNA. So we will always feel fear in our lives. There's no doubt about it. And fear is a really great mechanism that protects us from danger, whether it's perceived or whether it's real. Our brains don't know the difference. And so, a really good example of a perceived fear is being scared of, say, the dark, for example. Um, Now, the dark can't physically hurt you and it can't physically harm you, but there is a phobia inside you thinking your body reacts in the same way that being scared of the dark would be, say, being chased by a vicious dog. Okay. So I want you to understand that it's our psychology, it's our physiology that allows us to survive. Now, the other point I want to explain to you how fear can actually cause us to lose control of our thoughts, our feelings, and our academic learning. Now, today I wanted to just give you a bit of an education on how the brain works. And so, whenever you're feeling these thoughts and feelings coming to you, and the sense of how your body reacts, you know exactly what's going on in here. So let's start off. To make it really simple, I mean, the brain is very complex and we still don't know all the answers to how the brain totally works, but we're getting there over time. So let's divide the brain up into three parts. So the first part is this bit here. Okay, so that's called the prefrontal cortex. And this part of the brain here is responsible for all our learning. So it's to do with our rational thought, it's to do with our creativity, our mathematic ability, our critical thinking, anything to do that we have to sit there, our logic, how we learn, how we perform in things. So it's basically everything to do with schooling is sitting here in our front of our brain. Now, whenever we allow our emotions to get in the way of our front of our brain, this is where we go into a more of an emotional response. And so further down inside our brain, so it's kind of in here, but in the middle, it's called the amygdala. And the amygdala is responsible for all our emotional responses. So whether, how, if we're laughing, we're crying, we're angry, all those feelings are sort of put up in that part of our brain, and it's to the size of a little pea. And then the third part of our brain is down here, and it's where the brainstem is in the cerebellum. So, and they generally call this part sort of more like the lizard brain, and this is where we kind of want to fight, flight, and free. So we're reacting. So we're wanting to sort of either we want to run away from danger. So we either physically run, and our bodies start to, sweat, our heart rates increases, our palms get sweaty, we feel like, there's a lump in our throat. There's all these reactions happening in our body because it's getting us ready for danger, ready to fight or ready to run. And so that's what's responsible for our physiology. Now, in response to the coronavirus and the panic and everything you're seeing at the moment in society, it's that part of the brain that is being triggered. And this is where you're seeing hordes of people running to the shops and collecting all this toilet paper rolls because they're trying to gain control of an uncontrolled environment. And that's what fear can happen. Fear can cause this irrational thought, this irrational feeling within us to go out and try and protect ourselves. So we think the only way we can gain control is to go to the shops and buy up everything and stock up and and to the outside, well, when we're watching this on TV, we think, oh my goodness, what's going on? They're crazy. But to them, it's a threat. They're feeling this fear, and it's that part of our brain down the back here, the lizard part, that's causing these people to act in an irrational way. Okay, so back to you. So how does this impact your studies and your learning? Well, when you're always in that mode of feelings, that you want to fight, you want to run away or avoid things or freeze from things. It's like it's sitting for an exam where you know for sure before the pressure hit that you knew everything, and then when you go to sit an exam, everything goes blank. Yeah, that's what happens to this part of the brain when your emotions take over. Your brain shuts down. So this part of the brain completely shuts down, and that's where you draw a blank, and that's where you start talking like a 2-year-old, mumbling your words. You can't string two sentences together. When you're sitting there trying to learn concepts, it doesn't go in, it doesn't sink in. Or if you're trying to sit for an exam, you can't recall everything that you've learned, and you walk away feeling like really bad about yourself because you think, oh well, I'm dumb or oh, this and that. But it's not the case. It's the fact that it's this fear mode that you're currently in that's preventing you from going from this level to this level of your academic success. So I wanted to make that clear that there are things that you can do to gain control of your brain so that you're not always in this zone, and then you become more in this zone. So some tips that you can do. What can we do to minimize this fear and anxiety so you can be focused and in control of your learning on a daily basis? Well, first of all, some of the things that we can do um, is understanding when your emotions start coming up in you to journal. Write in a journal somewhere and have some columns, and have columns where you can say to yourself, okay, so whenever a thought pops into your head, you can have a thoughts column, an emotions column, a reaction column, and an outcome column. So, so the first one would be what thoughts are coming into your head. What's the emotional state that you're feeling? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling sad? Put that down. Um, what did you do about it? Okay, so this gives you an idea of did you push through it? Did you push it to the side? Or did it make you not do the work or shut down? So this is really critical for you to understand right now, that you need to see how fear plays parts in your learning, in what you're doing on a daily basis. And then as a result of that, you want to see what the result is based on those reactions that you've made. So it's just the three reactions that you need to be aware of. You need to see what whether you're fighting, so whether you're pushing through it and you're going, I'm feeling the fear, but I'm doing it anyway, or you're pushing against it, so you're self-sabotaging. That's a real thing where you feel like, well, why bother? Why bother if I'm not going to achieve? If I'm going to avoid the situations and not do it anyway, or if I'm just going to do nothing and just sit there and go, I don't know what to do. And this is where overwhelm can come in too, where you feel like, I don't know how to gain control, so I'm just going to not do anything. And again, seeing how does that impact in your daily life? How does that impact your learning? When you're going to class, are you taking in any information? Or when you're studying on your own, are you able to retain any information? So really keep a note of that over the next couple of weeks to see how you go. Now, they're the tips for today's session, and I do hope you take that on board and start journaling your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions, and your results, because that's what we want to capture over time. And if you do have any questions and concerns about what you've been tracking about your fear, then please hit me up, send me an email, and I'll answer any queries and questions that you have during the next session. So for now, I'd like to wish you all to have a fabulous day, and don't forget to be you, have courage, and live life without limits. This is Paula Dunn from the Limited Edition Leadership Academy signing off. Bye.